few seconds for each of the videos. Have a sip of my coffee. I haven't even drank my second coffee and I'm wired. I hope everybody can hear me. Everybody says my sound's always turned off, so I don't want my notifications turned on, but I hope you can hear me. Today is May 2nd of 2023. In the old Matrix. We're still here. We're watching this in the future. I know a lot of people are trying to watch Phil's live. He's connecting on and off, and I haven't been able to get on it yet. His sound is all choppy. So I thought I would, and now my screen is flashing green on YouTube. So Elon this morning, this is what I woke up to. I don't know if you guys all saw the tweet he did on Vice, about Vice. And let me just go pull it up for, whoops, wrong one. Back in 5, Phil says, so hopefully he gets back on there. So this is for everybody to watch later. And plus a lot of you probably didn't see my YouTube live from yesterday. I did a YouTube live, if you're watching on Facebook, that you should go watch. So I have to go to my likes and Elon, where did I retweet that? I don't know. Oh yeah, there it is. So Elon did this text. I hope you can see it. I'll show it to both screens. Can you see the words down right underneath the Vice video? After donkey. Okay? And I'm like, what the frig, Elon? Why are you posting this? Why? Oh, why? So I go watch this video. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I gotta admit, I scrolled through a lot of it. And I'm like, what the if this is what Elon is tweeting first thing in the Tuesday morning, what is this day gonna be all about? So, me and Taco on the phone this morning, and I'm like, I can't even believe that I watched it. She goes, well, I'll make a thing about it. So she made a really good post, and then I shared it. And she was talking about how he was exposing, I can't say the words on YouTube or Crackbook, but people who like to do things with animals and then have feelings for animals is a totally different word. This video is totally effed up. Don't go watch it. Don't waste your time. Just know that I did a decode on it, okay? So let's go to the, oops, I'll just go to right where I posted on my Telegram. And I was like, why in the world would he be tweeting that? Why? So I went and I just got to show you because I can't put it up on the screen. I hope you can all see that word, of course. It's nice and big there in YouTube land. Nice and big there in Facebook. It might be backwards. But I'm like, it is the same number as today. Today is number 122 in the calendar. Gematria. On that, I'll just say, I can't even say DS, but it's funny, DS is deep state. And so let's just go read some of these Gematria thingies, okay? Silver. Time and chance happen to us all. Jeshua. Vacation. Listen to these words very carefully, okay? Vacation. October surprise. The almighty bloods. Yes, I am coming. You are Mary Magdalene. Gaining access to see ancient gods. Trump reinstated. Yin yang. Pack your bags. Wow, pack your bags and vacation. Shut the front door. Gets better. But wait, there's more. Territory, a beautiful stole. The Constitution. Artemis, god of the moon. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I like that one because my hairdresser was talking about that the other day. Fifth dimensional Sacred Heart Grid. That's a big one. The Season for the Reason. Pope Francis. Twin Flames. Train wreck. So let's just comment. Maybe Pope Francis croaks today. Maybe there's a big train wreck where two trains collide. I don't know. There's Colosseum, Roku Channel, America First, Jesus Blood, and that's number 111, 732, and 122. Okay. The End is Near, King of Kings, Michael Flynn, Bill Clinton. Next word under that is surrender. The Torah Code, No More War, Number of Man, Yesterday, Righteous, This Rocks, Any Day Now, Purple Tie, The Doge Father, Juneteenth, Mind Blowing. That's also 1111, 732, and 122. Liberty Bell. Where have we been hearing that a lot? Right underneath there, JFK lives. Oh, sorry, JFK Jr. lives. Frequencies. Nikola, Tesla, Hidden Truth. CB, Divine Brain. Mr. Jackson. Beat it. Day of the Sun. Double 11 written out. 107. Chaldean Gematria. I did a show about that. See, when I even say Chaldean, it goes bleep, green. World Win. The Red Queen. You ended it. Sanctuary. Please take care. Here's a big one. Devil loses. King and Queen. Completion. China, Russia. Papa Francisco. The End Times. Untouchable. Prophecy. Joshua Tree. Events begin. Generators. 818 spelled out. So if you go to Q Post 221, what news broke? America contractors wear hanging from feet, reread dumps. Why is this relevant? News unlocks maps. News unlocks maps. Good morning, and Carmen and Pat, thank you. And then it goes into Post 122, and it's basically, do you believe in coincidences? Prey, Snow White, Godfather 3. We've talked about this in other movies. Other videos that I've done. Well, I guess they're little movies. And then it goes, I looked at Post 396 because it's in one of the good words, I think, beside 1111. I think it's Jesus Blood, I think, or Event Soon, one of those. And it says, Sea to Shining Sea. And then it's got some comms there, and it says, Show the world our power. Red October, Q. And then it says, Sweet Dreams. Papers, public, not private. NatSec. And then it goes into a whole bunch of other letters. And so this is all like unlocking the doors. So why on earth? Like, yeah. So not only is he telling us about all of that disgustingness that actually is quite a common practice and accepted in Colombia. Disgusting on so many levels. Like, just gross. So, if anybody's been paying attention to Phil's page, he's had a hard time loading up Rumbles and doing lives. I have been hardcore hit on Rumble, super hard, with what's been going on, and same with Facebook and Telegram. So I have to juggle all of my information between all of the channels, and hopefully people are catching up. I went from having videos in 2020, like 20 to 50,000 people were watching certain videos, and then one got 150 or 200,000 before it got pulled off. Y'all know that one. And since then, they've really messed with my numbers, but it's been really, really, really hard. And the reason I say about that is I hope we get exposed to the true numbers of how many people were watching these videos, and it's not for nothing. It's other than how many people actually we're in that same vibration, because I don't honestly believe that only sometimes 1,000 people watch or 200 people watch a video, because they've erased all the views on some and then left the comment numbers. So it's really kind of a cluster F as to what the true story is. But I don't really care about the numbers. For me, it's like whether or not the information is getting passed along. So I posted a couple old, or one old video today that somebody had retweeted and said that there was a lot of good information in there. So this is my challenge for anybody, please. I love you, all the Ravenettes out there, who, if you do go watch an old video, could you do me a favor and just comment some of the basic highlights that are in that? Oh, she talks about blah, 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 blah in this video. That would be super terrific. Because I think that would help people, get more information, if, especially some of the people that are newly awake. Speaking of newly awake, my youngest, yesterday, he's 20, how old is he? 20, 23. He'll be 24 in September. And he's going on a little trip, and we were talking about, it's here in Canada, and we were talking about just everything going on. And I'm like, well, this is what I said yesterday. No shit. I'm like, be prepared to stay there for a while, because there's things going on with the planes and the news and, all this stuff that I've been kind of telling ya that, and you're like, yeah, 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 whatever didn't really want to hear. I said, well, it's all like rolling into a big package that's going to be delivered soon, and we don't know when that's going to be. So the planes are now going on strike a lot in the United States, and it has to do with them being forced to do something against their will. And now a lot of them are croaking or having strokes on the plane, and the other pilots are being forced to land, and all of this stuff. So that's what we're hearing. We're also hearing that CRA is on strike. We're also hearing that in the UK there's lots of strikes. Why are these strikes happening? What a better time to replace an employment group or change a system with all of these major institutions all over going on strike. Who cares if the revenue service is going on strike? Seriously, I haven't done my taxes for like 3 or 4 years because I just don't give a flying hoot. You're not getting any more of my money. And I'm going to do what I can to get my own money out of out of the government too. So there is a lot of movement on a lot of fronts with a lot of information coming out. And I'm just going to quickly whiz through, because there's some people who don't have Telegram. So I like to keep people abreast as to what I see. Phil posted another link to his live. So oh yeah, the Hollywood union strike members are going. Comex silver is dropping like big time. The de-dollarization, all of that stuff is going around. Now, all of these people, and I said it a long time ago, when part of the world is already switching gold, you can't do business with a country that only deals with asset-backed currencies. So this is why it has to disappear. That's all their money laundering too. This is all the human trafficking, money laundering coming to an end. So everywhere where we see this stuff is where they're telling us about that. Now, it's funny, somebody had mentioned, here's how synchronistic. One of you on my YouTube mentioned yesterday, why don't you do something on the Picton or on Trudeau? And then lo and behold, what does Taco post this morning on her page? The whole Picton Pig Farm, George Soros, Trudeau connection, in with everything, Susan Taylor, all of that, charts that I did ages ago. So it's right up there on the page. The other thing I wanted to talk to is about the information coming about the coronation. First of all, Charles is having mental issues, according to the staff, and the coronation might not happen. We'll talk about what I saw on the television the other day. It was so hilarious. So I think I mentioned it on my show yesterday that they were doing the rehearsals for the show, and it looked like they had all the cadets wearing those big black hats, for the royal whatever. And oh yeah, just I'll get to that in a second, Leanne. What did your son say? And um, uh, anyhow, so they all had wrinkled pants and everything, and all of that crap going on. And I mentioned this to my son too. I said, this whole thing with Charles getting like supposedly being crowned king on Sunday or whatever probably isn't gonna take place because there's lots of other stuff going on in the background. And he goes, yeah, I don't really care about, the monarchy or anything like that. And I'm like, no, and that's like honestly nothing to do with us caring. But think of it this way, Ethan, if they haven't changed the things on the outside of the buildings, like the courthouse still says the Queen of uh, Court of Queen's Bench or whatever, and they haven't changed all the logos and the paperwork, and then he doesn't get crowned. Like, who's the ownership and title of over all of our lands and documents and law? And he's like, yeah, that's true. And I said, well, what about uh I said, what else have you heard? Oh, we talked about the Michelle Obama on Ellen. He goes, yeah, I saw that. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. And I said, so you know that there's a lot of uh females acting or males acting as females out there. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, but I'm a little tired. I don't really want to talk about it. But he's seeing all of this information come now to a point of truth where it's all kind of making sense. Every little seed that we dropped along the way is like, well, my mom said, 3 years ago the queen was a fake, and now they're not doing anything, and now all of this stuff is like he's aware of. Like, I go, well, what about the money too? Like, her face ain't gonna stay on our money. Simple things, just simple things that now he's becoming aware to. Um, yeah, buffed yesterday. See, I just even said that. Federal workers, the city buses in Kitchener are on strike. What are the green glitches? The green glitches are when they don't want me to say stuff. So now let's get back to King Charles, the Stone of Destiny. If nobody watched that video, like I think I talked about it a few years ago. I don't know, maybe or maybe not. But there was a video that was put out a while ago and I had watched about how the Stone of Destiny is used in the coronation of every king or queen. And what it is a stone from Scotland. Who's in Scotland? Stone from Scotland that the Scottish kings had the landowners bring dirt in their boots, and they all knelt before the king and then poured the dirt out in this stone. They don't know where the stone came from. Let's just make that clear. Nobody knows where this damn stone came from. So the Stone of Destiny's out there, and all the coronations happened. Da, da, da. 1950, four people stole it. They stole the stone, four guys, and they broke it. It cracked. And so the person, when that happened, they did this covert op to get the stone back. And the guy who got the stone back basically took it to a masoner, and the masoner fixed the stone, and apparently. But his name was Robert Gray, I believe. I didn't know this last part about the taking the stone. I knew about the theft and how the stone, da da da, and what I knew all about the Stone of Destiny, but I didn't know this last part. So this Robert Gray, I think his name was, who repaired the Stone of Destiny, maybe allegedly didn't even give back the original Stone of Destiny. So when this thing apparently happens on Sunday, he ain't sitting on any stone of any relevance. That's kind of the trick to the story, I guess. Well, trick, yeah. Anyways, the other thing I was going to mention is I think Greg was talking about, I haven't watched this video still, about how when there is a coronation, there's a big money laundering event. But what the BBC is saying now is pretty freaking priceless. So, as I said, I do drive-bys and get to listen to that on occasion. And I could not stop laughing because they said, oh, we're reusing some of the royal jewels and he's using this blah, blah, blah from 1937 and da 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 da, like all this old shit they're pulling out of the woodwork for Charles's coronation. Again, wrinkled pants, you know, like take a look. Yesterday, the other thing, speaking of BBC, because I know I'll get off topic if I don't mention these things while I'm talking. I could not stop laughing. And please, if you find this clip, this is a challenge to all of you because you'll die laughing yourself. Seriously, it's so fucking funny. I'm watching them talk about the Ukraine war. And they show these same clips over and again with the little dolls, you know, that fit one inside of another. They're in some blacked out or like shitty bunker. Like it's such a farce. But then they show a tank. This is the one I want you to find. They show a tank rolling down the road, and then they show a truck following this tank. Now, look at the tire, front left tire on the front of the truck. It's like so bad. It's like totally flat. There's like 5 or 6 people in this truck at least. And it's like literally moving this far out of the truck, minimum. It's such a joke. Where are all them new tanks? Where's them 4 tanks Canada sent over? When are they? Where are they? Let's go. So dumb. I burst out laughing. So I was having a conversation. My son is dating a Ukrainian girl. And her parents have lived in Canada for a bit. And her dad is a Ukrainian police officer, retired, and her mom is a Ukrainian doctor. So I mentioned this in conversation. My neighbor's like, why aren't they helping out at the war? Yeah, I can't talk about that right now. That was my answer. Yeah, that's all I have to say when that subject comes up because, you know. Anyways, so that's what's going on in my world. Money laundering, donkey shenanigans. I felt so sorry for that donkey. I almost called it poor donkey. I love donkeys. I couldn't imagine anybody doing that to my friend Denny the donkey. So, anybody seen Gene Ho's picture of who he's hanging out with? Can you see that? Oh, let me just flat. I don't know. It's Pastor Bob Joyce. And who is this Gene Ho? Well, he's the editor of George Magazine, I think, or one of the top people. And he's really close beside the CIC, Mr. Trump. So, the other thing, what was happened? Doop doop doop. Sorry, I'm just scrolling. Yeah, that's all I posted for today. So anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say. There's lots. Isn't he the Trump's photographer? Yes, thank you, Leanne. I knew, but he has something to do with George Magazine too, I think. I'm just not sure. All my PJs are in this. Yeah, I'm still in my PJs, so what of it? I've got things to do, so that I don't have to get changed right away. Ooh, these ones want to fly out. So I think we're going to hear some exciting things. Like, what are the chances, you guys? Day 122 and Gematria of something disgusting being 122. Really, what are the chances? How many coincidences? Any day now, folks. Any day now. I truly believe it. Truly, truly, truly. Truly, I am so truly. Last card to come out. Joy. Third card to come out. The King, which is all about man, authority, male sexual energy, things pertaining to the law and justice. Well, wasn't that donkey thing a whole thing about gross male sexual energy? So I hope there's justice, and that's what the meaning of that. Oh, loyal, unconditional love, the dog, sincerity. Ooh, the first card that comes out is death, and I want to read that card because everybody always gets freaked out when I say, oh, I'm excited about the death card, but really it's the beautiful card. So I always hold them up kind of like this. So death is at the end. So I see a lot of joy coming to fruition. This marker portends a time of transformation, a total change of attitude, the death of the old. Regardless of how the death presents itself, it is a necessary aspect of all things. Always remember the phoenix that rises up out of the ashes to soar in the wind, renewed, filled with life. Excuse me. Death is the winter of things, part of the cycle of life. When you receive this marker, you are reminded that all things have their season. The season for the reason. Wow. Take courage, for in surrendering to death, in time you will be blessed with extraordinary new life. Rejoice, for that which dies fertilizes and fortifies the end. Endings always point to fresh, new beginnings. Booyah. So I love that. I love that. Totally awesome. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Who is in Scotland? Oh, well, my brother and a bunch of political crooks. Brother not one of the crooks, by the way. Who was I referring to? Mr. T-U-R-M-P. Yeah, that's who I was. Yeah, and that's exactly it, Carmen. She's like, you can only hope to pull the death card in a reading. Out with the old and in with the new. That's exactly how I feel. 100%. 100%. Okay, let me just see what these messages are on. Okay. Jacob rested on the stone. So stone comes from Bible days. Oh, Trump comes from Scotland. That's where his mother was born, and that's where that Bible came from. And yesterday, tons of activity in the sky last night. Jolene says, I live out in butt F nowhere, and yesterday, tons of activity in the night sky. Okay, so here's a comment that says, Mafia is buying gold just like banks, eh? And yes and no. Here's what my my belief is what's happening with the gold, okay? And I did a video 3 years ago kind of describing it that kind of went viral. It was called I Am in the New World. And there was a person who had a really active an anon on Twitter that her name was Snow White. She retweeted it and said this girl gets it. But she had retweeted a lot of similar things to how Vincent Kennedy tweets and all these other people. Totally flattered. Totally. That was just amazing. So in that video, I talked about how, I don't know if I have some of the charts I did yesterday. How in the new earth, like where we are now in the new system, there is no debt, firstly. Okay, so if you take $1 from here, it goes to there. And it has to be in a good vibration, okay? You have to be in a good vibration. So what's happening with all of us now, as our vibrations increase through the Schumann and all these activities going on our planet, and all of the collective consciousness being risen by all of the information that's coming out, we're going through a higher vibration. Now, the gold that was all in fear and greed and all of that, now has been, this is the best way I guess can explain it. All the gold has higher vibrations and now has a DNA tag to all of the gold that is in the system. This QFS system running behind our regular, it's mirroring this crap system we've got going on. So this is mirroring that. This is where all the gold has DNA. So when it transfers from me to you, say for example, I'm buying something from you, the system recognizes what vibration you are in through your apparatus, through your phone. So if you're in a great vibration, say I'm buying a house from you, and we can only transfer gold now because the rest of the country's on gold, and the gold it's an earthly material. So it has a vibration. Everything in here has a vibration. So it'll say, oh, is Raven in a good vibration? How about the person that she's buying the house from? Is that person in a good vibration? So if both of us are in a good vibration, that transaction will happen instantaneously. No banks involved, nothing. So my money goes from me to you. So it debits out of here and credits there. There is no ever. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 minus 1 equals 2. Or you got it. 3 minus 2 equals 1. That's how that system works. So it's an energetic transfer versus paper and data transfer. And how, to me, how that vibrational transfer is going through the system, whether you want to say Starlink or however, our vibrations. I really think it's our actual frequency that talks to each other, like the collective consciousness, that's rising, and we're talking telepathically. Think of it as logical that that's where we would be, doing these higher frequencies activities. So the more higher our vibrations get, the lower vibes cannot do business with us anymore. And there will be that timeline split where people who want to live in that lower vibration of being a slave, pure and simple, being a slave, then they will live in that system. And that's, I believe, where 20% of the earth that's not of service to humanity is going to go. So it's like the big, sweat lodge of the land. So there's a lot of the energy being flicked off right now. And the reason why people are mad and angry and getting so chuffed off is because those lower vibrations have not been cleaned out of your body. You're still attaching that ego to that information or to that frequency because of a place where you have been ripped off or you've had that vibration stolen. We've all had something stolen from us. All of us have been victims. So if you're staying in a victim vibe and you're like, poor me, nobody's helping me, why is this happening? Yada, yada, yada. You're feeding that loosh still, and that's affecting the overall collective consciousness. That's the best way I can tell you. You're still affecting that by getting sucked into that negative vibration of the storm that's going around right now. So we should be, at least at this stage, most of us, no victims, only volunteers. And the way I believe it too, Carmen and others, is like, we all chose this path. You signed up for this crap. I signed up for my life. And those who have listened to my show for 3 years and watched the Who the Heck is Raven Moonstone hour-long video, or more than whatever, you've enjoyed me for that long talking about myself. I made that video not for my ego, but because I felt like I had to explain how I got to the place in time in this timeline, to give my story credibility to the information that I was putting out. That's all. Not because I like talking about myself. But anybody who did watch that, know that it's always been about overcoming and not holding yourself victim to someone else's notion of you. I've been saying this for 3 years. What other people think of you is none of your fucking business. It's none of your business. It's none of my business. So it's really hard sometimes when people are like giving me their personal stuff, or asking me to help them when I'm like, I don't know how to get through that situation myself right this second. But we're all trying to like cling to the energies that move us to a better place, that move us to a better place in where we should be. So it's like, I do believe in the where we go one, we go all. I really, really do. And I've tried not to crap on tried. I just said, I don't want to listen to that dude. I don't want to put that dude's video on my page. And guess what? I've been posting some people's videos that I did not enjoy before, and I'm not saying I enjoy them now, but the information is there. I'm not going to begrudge a timeline of information just because I personally don't like hearing somebody's voice. Information is information. It should be free and given to those who all want to accept it freely and look for it freely. So, and that's what the 4D truth is coming through. So there's been a lot of people who are like, Raven, you did this, you did that, you didn't do this, you said this, blah, blah, blah. And I've just tried to rise above that in truth and going, that's just because they're saying that about me doesn't mean it's true about me. And I think that's the biggest thing that we all need to come to is realizing our own power within. Like we are all co-creators of such tremendous power. And I'll just reflect back to that the power of your DNA. Like if our DNA can have an ebook transfer and loaded up here, we must think in quantum and we must think in collective consciousness and we must think of how that energy will easily be transferred from me to you because of the 100 monkeys, like that even. And that's what the other thing I told my son yesterday. See how I all circle back? Yeah, I said circle back, guys. So yesterday when we were walking, I tried to show him like he was saying, like how he's going through these weird where he feels really tired and then he feels like, and I showed him the Schumann. And I said, see where it's all white here? And I'm like, usually that's when we feel the most exhausted. And sometimes they do it like in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day or whatever. I'm like, this is what I feel anyways. And then when it's all like this, I feel like I'm gonna throw up or I'll have migraines and that. And he's like, oh, that's interesting. This is what he says when he's thinking about, that's interesting, which I appreciate about him. And then I said, well, you seen that where they hook the sand up to the plate? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, we're all just water. So think of our water changing vibrations. That's what that white stuff means. And it's just letting us be in a happier place to accept the information and not get so triggered when we hear that information or it's more easily and readily accepted. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And oh, it was just kind of a funny, like a whole funny interaction about how many things just kind of overlapped, but in a very gentle way. So I was very appreciative. It wasn't a very long video, but yeah, we are all so powerful. Just see what you want to look like and make this world beautiful. Yes, I agree, Carmen. I'm all about that, like co-creating that reality. And the other thing I was thinking, and I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, in our computer program life, like let's just talk about the on and off ones and zeros of our matrix, and in that space lies that quantum energy, infinite quantum energy. See my green screen again. So let's just imagine that we've only been told this is light, this is dark. And all of this that we're creating here. So what they've been doing is the dark side knows and it will hijack and implant things in our matrix to promote fear. And that's all that's been going on. So in those spaces, I think, has been manipulated, and now all of that will be shut off. So what we're seeing is the banks collapse. First, all three of those banks were worth more money than 25 banks in 2008. Let me repeat that. The three banks that just went down are more money than in 2008. And there's one that's set to collapse today again. I think it's called PacWest. So, and it's a fifth of the other side. So you gotta have to think whose loans and mortgage bonds do they hold right now? What companies are invested in that bank that they're collapsing. And why does JP Morgan, why are they forced to buy back the First Republic? Well, it's probably because they started all of this bank paper thing and it's being shuffled back to the people who all created this stuff. And that's what I think the implosion's going on. It's like the hot potato. You take this credit. No, you take this credit. I don't want it. You take it. And yeah, and that's why we won't have any need for banks anymore. And that's why I think all of the CRA is going on strike. So it sets us up to have a treasury, people to help us. We all get our resources back, our money back that we've had in our strawman account. All of that stuff will be returned, I believe. What can be done can be undone. And I do believe it is a matter of a flip of a switch. I do. I think it's that easy. Blink. And all of a sudden, one day, we look in our Royal Bank. This is how I think it's going to work. Or our bank or TD or whatever you use. And you're going to look in there and you're going to see, like, mine has $5.04 in it. Ooh, ooh. I never leave any money in my bank account. So I've had it ripped off so many times. So we'll see $5.04 in there one day, and maybe one day we'll wake up and see one quadradecadillion in there, like whatever, or 20 billion or 20 million, and we'll be like, what the fuck? There's some banking error. But no, that's like our money. So, yeah. And I do think there's a lot of interesting things too that don't hold any value to who's good and who's bad yet. This show is about to get interesting. Like, we might find out some people we thought were super, super bad were just doing a bad job to get info. Like dark angels. Think about that. Triple CIA operatives, you know, white hat, black hat, white hat. You know, stuff going on. So don't get too caught up in those timelines and keep your mind open to anything, because anything is possible right now. It's just, this show is getting so awesome. I love it. I love it. There's just so much coming out that this is like, oh yeah, I think we should be looking at CNN as well. I think Trump's friend bought it. Please correct me if I'm wrong again. I always like to be corrected. Write in the comments, so I'm lazy. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, so I think we're going to see a big media flip and and just flipped on its head. Patrick says, I volunteered. Feels like I was sold a story by a shonky car sales. Come on now. When we remember the whole thing, we'll be like, oh. I really do think that. It'll be like all of our lives, past lives, flash, psh, this is who we were in that life, this is who we were, this is what we did, this is what we helped. Because time is an illusion. We all are in the present time right now, affecting the past and affecting the future. See how easy that was? Anyways, I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. 43 minutes of chitter chatter, pitter patter. Let's get at her. But hey, it was all about that poor donkey, or those poor donkeys. I don't know. I don't know. Do donkeys have bad karma or something? Because that's not fair. It's not fair to the donkeys. Anyways, sorry about telling you about the Elon story, but I did think it was important because, again, if he's disclosing this woke, far left, bullshit, bankrupt news thing, then, you know, what are we going to do about it? We all have to talk about it. And I think it's just about time where the world was awakened, because there's a lot of people who don't know about that stuff. Be like, what the hell, Elon? Why are you posting that? They have no clue what we know. So this is the Great Awakening. It ain't for everybody at every stage. I know sometimes I'm just super cringe, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's just a movie. It's just a movie. We cringe in movies. And it's all happened already. People who saw me talk in 2020 on the stage, some of them thought I was kooky, and I was like, we win, we win, we won, yeah! They're like, how do you know this? I just know. And now we're here hearing the information. We just know. So my future self came back to my old self and told me in a dream this was going to happen. Or maybe I saw my future self. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, have a good day, everyone. Light and love to all the peeps out there in all the lands.